Today we're talking about 5 reasons why the INFJ is so extremely dangerous. INFJs are not the type of people who will go out and be mean or bad towards others, not as a rule. Of course, there are exceptions here and there, but most of us actually get pushed to an extreme once we have no other choice. So if we're being provoked very strongly, if we have our back against the wall, that's the moment when the INFJ really starts fighting back. And once the INFJ fights back, people are completely shocked because that's the moment when others realize how extremely dangerous INFJs can be. So today we're looking into 5 reasons why INFJs are so extremely dangerous and what we can do with that information. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you haven't done this so far, to download the free poster on the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you want to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. Reason number 1 why INFJs can be so extremely dangerous is because people can get extremely addicted to the INFJ. The way we're set up, cognitively speaking, really speaks to a lot of people. We make people feel seen. We make people feel heard. But more than that, we actually become a person in their life, in their reality. That's one of our biggest skills. And if you go about your life and you constantly feel like nobody understands you, and then the INFJ pops up, then this person will get extremely addicted to the INFJ. And once this relationship has bonded and has happened, it can become very dangerous for the other person because the INFJ has the power in that moment. That's something we have to be aware of. Once somebody's addicted to an INFJ, they by default are in this extremely dangerous situation because they're in need of the INFJ. They're addicted to the INFJ. And so no matter how the INFJ reacts, if they react in a way that the other person doesn't like, they will pick it up very extremely. Reason number 2 why the INFJ is so extremely dangerous is because the INFJ is unpredictable. One of our biggest skills is the fact that we can hollow ourselves out. We can make room for the people around us. We can dim our light and let another person shine. And so as a result, most of the people don't know what the INFJ is all about, who that person is, where our weaknesses are, where our strengths lay. They don't know our dreams or our fears. And if you don't know what a person is about, then this can be extremely dangerous because you cannot really put your finger on what might happen. Psychologically speaking, we very often even choose a situation that isn't all that great, but that we can predict over a situation that, we cannot predict and where something amazing can happen and something really horrible. And that's how it is with the INFJ. Most people will not know what the INFJ is all about, and that in itself will make the INFJ extremely dangerous. It's something that a lot of people kind of shy away from, or if they get in any kind of relationship with the INFJ, they will want to find out who the INFJ is all about. And there will be conflicts and there will be consequences, and very often it will lead to the INFJ reacting extremely because the other person just cannot handle not knowing what the INFJ is all about. And this isn't something that only other people, have difficulties with. If you really think about it, we actually act in a way that allows us to get to know another person. We so often know what another person's fears are. We know what their strengths are. We know what they want, what they don't want, what they like, right? The way we find that out is by pulling ourselves back and allowing them to really show their true colors. So on the one hand, we're doing this because we want to be good people and we want to be friendly and we want to allow them to shine. But we should not neglect that we're also doing this in order to predict what is going to happen, who this person actually is. This gives you a sense of security. So next time when you wonder why people think you're unpredictable and why this is a problem, just think of how this is a necessity for you as well. So that in itself should maybe give us a nudge to reveal a little bit more about ourselves, because not only will it make the situation more stable because the other person can predict more like who you are, but it will also allow you to have a way more authentic connection. Reason number 3 why the INFJ is so extremely dangerous is because the INFJ is a very strategic type. If we meet somebody, if we get into a new job, if we, move to a new city, There's always a game plan. The INFJ is not the person who's going to wake up and live in the moment solely. There's always some kind of concept that is going on in the back of our mind, how we're going to handle a certain situation, how other people are going to, act when this and this happens. So there's always a plan and there's always a strategy. Even if we have the best intentions, we use other people like chess pieces. And again, this is not something we do out of malicious reasons. We're also not looking at people and saying, oh, they're replaceable. But there's always the strategic component when it comes to the way we think. It's just part of our cognitive process. And if you're a person who's always strategic in the back of your mind, that can make you extremely dangerous because you're not looking, at, having luck or some circumstances happening to your favor or not. There's always been a plan. And when you encounter somebody who doesn't do that and they recognize more and more with time, most of the time, that you are the one who has a strategy behind this, that you will move forward when they don't. There's a change in the power dynamic and that makes people extremely uncomfortable. And for a lot of people, this is a danger because they feel like their social hierarchy might be at stake or their independence or whatever it may be. When the INFJ in that moment is actually just looking forward into how their own life is going to develop. But that approach, that strategy in itself, makes people look at the INFJ as an extreme danger sometimes. Reason number 4 why the INFJ is so extremely dangerous is because they can hurt you where it hurts. As I mentioned in the beginning, the INFJ isn't the type who will go out and will want to put others down. That's just not in our nature. Of course, there are exceptions, but as a group, that's not how we function. That being said, that does not mean that we don't have the power to hurt people where it hurts. The fact that we can actually understand others so well, that we know what they're about, what their fears are, what their weaknesses are, what their insecurities are. This is all information that we will use if we don't have another choice. INFJs will try to avoid this at all costs because this is a very uncomfortable situation. This is something we do not want. It makes us feel like we're bad people because we try to protect others. We try to protect the fact that they have this weakness and that they're insecure about it and they're trying to hide it. And just because we see it, that does not mean that we will poke at it right away. But again, if that person continuously puts you down and you feel you don't have another choice, very often the INFJ doesn't have to do much. They just have to reveal that they know this weakness. And it's not that the INFJ will just go up to this person and say, by the way, I know that you feel insecure about your childhood. Nothing like that. It's just the way we behave. We will just start behaving in a way that will be a mirror to that person's insecurities. So if that person thinks they're weak, we will just be strong and we'll just show them that there's strength in their environment, which will just remind them of how weak they feel themselves. This is a typical thing INFJs are extremely good at. And if we're actually forced to do that, we will hurt them where it hurts. And reason number 5 why the INFJ is so extremely dangerous is because we can leave without a fight and without closure. Once the INFJ has recognized that this is not a situation that can be saved, that this is not a person you want to have in your life anymore, the INFJ is able to switch up their reality. That's one of our biggest skills. We're able to take in new information as in, okay, I thought this person was good. Now I have some evidence that that person isn't, that that person isn't good for me. So I just change the way I look at that person. I change, as a consequence, how I feel about myself. I change the way I see the world. So there are a lot of components, but as an INFJ, you know what I'm talking about. You've experienced this. Things seem different than they seemed a year ago. And things like this happen very fast once we have a realization like this, because now things make sense in a different light. If you have had information A, B, C, and every conclusion that you've made in your life were based on this information, you could have come to the conclusion of, let's say, E. But now you have information A, B, C, and D, and now you know that your interpretation of the reality, which was E, is just incorrect. It's much more likely that the real reality is actually F. So in that regard, we change the way we see the world, we change the way we see ourselves, and we also change the way we see that person. And if that happens, the INFJ is somewhere completely else mentally. So when this happens, the other person will never get a closure. They will never have the satisfaction of having a fight with the INFJ, of having some kind of altercation that will just prove to them that they're not the only ones who are upset about this, right? You know, very often when you have the opportunity to have any kind of exchange, it gives you closure, it gives you a sense of power because you see that the other person is also powerless in that regard. But with the INFJ, very often this just won't happen. The INFJ has moved on, has forgotten, and has changed. And if another person is faced with that reality, this can be extremely painful. You know, on a psychological level, this will make a lot of people change their ways. It will change the way they see the world. There's a reason why if you get into such a situation with an INFJ and the INFJ has shown you your truth, they've shown you your weaknesses, they've changed the way they see you, this will have an extreme effect on you. So you as an INFJ, you've experienced this. You've seen how people have actually changed because of interactions with you that were similar like this. And so we have to be aware of the fact that yes, we are extremely dangerous, but also to be aware that most people have no idea about it. And that's just the way it's going to be. So the question just becomes, how far do I want to take this? Do I want to continue this path where I don't show anything about myself, where I get into situations where, you know, I might have to leash out like this? Or am I going to focus more on creating my life, my goal? And with that, you don't even get into such extreme situations. If you really think about it, most of those situations happen because you're focused on the other person. You're focused more on their life than you're focused on yours. We do this very often because it seems easier, it seems more interesting. But I promise you, if you start putting all of that energy now back into your life, into creating your epic life, you will not only feel more abundant, but you will get into these situations less and less frequent. I honestly don't remember the last time I was in a situation like this, and I used to frequently experience them. So use the danger that you actually carry within you to create something powerful where, you know, your cup of energy is overflowing and, you know, you have that power, but you're using it in a win-win way. Remember, if you want some more guidelines how to get that process started, then get the INFJ Epic Life formula. And if you want to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. Everything you need to know you can find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on the 5 reasons why it's so dangerous to mess with an INFJ.